Yeah, it was so beautiful to listen to this singer and songwriter. What about today? It's Sunday, and still we are ongoing. Stillness. Stillness. Let me try to Google that. Stillness. I think that is a good topic. You see, when when I was a child, let me just do this first. Stillness. Silence or stillness. Stillness and silence. Let me put an and here. And silence. Stillness and silence. I think sometimes we underestimate the value of stillness and silence, because if we try to be still, we can't handle that for a long time. It is quite awkward to be in a still position all the time. We can't even be still in a fraction of time. So what would I achieve with talking about stillness and silence? Every time I go on YouTube, I am not silent. I'm not silent at all. I try to do my I try to do my silence, and then this is not working. Well, I had to put it on, so that put the microphone on, because that was kind of awkward. That was kind of awkward. I started this video with silence. Quite interesting that this happened to this video. I just realized that I had to adjust the microphone. Yet you can see my mouth moving. You can see me move. And that is a topic of itself. I have to check out what kind of different things I am handling. So, stillness and silence. Silence is quite underestimated, as I was stating in the beginning. Silence and stillness. Because if you do something that you are not familiar with, you will try to get into the familiar and routine mode in activity, in doing something, and maybe doing the right thing. We don't want to moralize everything, but it's a good topic for contemplation. That sometimes we take a time off, as Jesus invited come over with me. Don't don't worry, don't exaggerate, don't overdo it. Come here and rest. Rest is a kind of a stillness that you both are still and silent. You can hear a lot of so-called noise when you are still. You can hear your own bodily functions, like the heartbeat. If you have tinnitus like me, you can hear your own tinnitus. It's quite annoying. So therefore I go to sleep with some talker. I like to, because it takes my attention away from this sound, this ringing. So I wish it could be silent sometimes. Sometimes I don't even mind it, because it is not all that bad. And to cope with this tinnitus, I didn't even want to have equipment in order to reduce the sound, the high frequency sound that this is tampering with my, and I realize over time that I get more and more fatigue out of this constant noise. So you see, I can talk a little bit about silence and stillness. I feel that I have a bad conscience if I'm still, if I don't do anything. Just being in a still mode, I have this bad feeling that this is not okay. I want to get out of this stillness, this stagnation. But I'm not talking about stagnation, I'm talking about stillness. You don't change. You see, we internally have this urge for changing. Some people like to preserve exactly how things were back in those years, times and everything. So they get very hyper agitated by changes. I visited a friend of mine. His interior was all about old 50s clocks, wall ticking clocks, different cleaning machines, different furniture that was from the 50s. He wasn't born in 50s, he may have been born in late 70s. Or beginning, I don't know. He seemed to be old enough to be born in the 70s. So he liked the equipment that we had back in those years. Maybe from he was born, but in the 70s, I remember the cleaning machine was a little bit more advanced than this big trunk. But he preserved many of those trunks, I would say trunks. His time, he didn't want to advance. His time had stopped at that. So maybe when he came out of this environment that was from the 50s, he went into a surrealistic world of everything have changed. What is this world about? It have all changed to a different time. realm of time. Maybe it was a psychological escape from something very unpredictable, because now you can't predict anything. Back to those years where he was the manager of the time. Manager of the time. He could arrange everything into this environment that he controlled in a specific way. You see, if you have these urges and needs to control everything, that is kind of, I want to remind you of the topic that I made. I think it is you see, I think it is a very much important topic, because I wouldn't want you to preserve some specific time. But if you are in absolute stillness and silence, without those elements that makes noise, you get in a driving mode. You get in a urging mode for doing something that may be very important. So to be calm, in a stillness mode, if you feel you can be walking, whatever you do, but you are in a still mode, mindly still. Mind, you see, the whole universe is for us as the mind picture in the mind. So if everything was a fixed state, we would want to change our behavior into more activity. It's you see the seed. I bring the example of seed because as long as it is dry, it gets no nourishment other than the air. So you can see that tomato or potato that is growing while it's in stillness, because it have a lot of internal moist, and maybe the light too is also making this happening, that you can have this growth without putting it in the soil. But dried seed, I did a lot of planting today, just to see the seeds for the last time, I hope, until it get into the growing mode. So while it's a seed, you can hold it, you can look at it, you can preserve it, it doesn't change. It is in a stillness mode. Maybe all the noise, it doesn't really impact the seed so much, because the seed, when it's sprouting in the right elements, get a lot of changes. So my topic is stillness and silence before the changes. And I think that if you have some perspective of yourself, that you can't go on working around the clock forever and ever as long as you live, because they say we need sleep. We will die. We will not only die bodily, but we will also be so crazy in our mind that we see something that is not there. We can sense something that is not real. we calculate and analyze something that is not for real. So we need this kind of a silence, in a silent mode, in order to get vigilant, get in activity, and without any good sleep. We are drained out of energy. So silence and stillness, we put our body to rest in order to get the best comforted rest that we need. We need it because it is how everything works with our body. That's how it is, my friends. The inspiration comes from this stillness. I think if you look at Michelangelo, Einstein, and all those Tesla and those people that were inventors, they were in a certain place, certain space, in a certain mode that motivated the force that was within them. It motivated the energy that sprout into a living being, not of physical activity, but of mental enhancement, mental achievements. So it is underrated. Stillness and silence. It reminds us of that something that beyond us, beyond our awareness, beyond our present light of understanding, is active all the time. And I don't think it is limited to specific persons, but you have to be aware of your own self. Not so much into going into myself, but maybe forget everything about myself. Forget that I'm here and now and hearing all this noise. Just forget it. Get the right focus. Get the right... You see, truth is an awakening spirit. Truth will wake up people, especially the leftists. If they hear something truthfully, they will react. Very natural. The leftists today have a natural habit of waking up and dispute facts. It's just how it is. I can't really... Because they are potent liars. They have never understood the silence. Because they don't believe in some realm beyond ourselves. For a leftist or evolutionist, it's all learned behavior. It's nothing beyond the scope of your bodily functions. So what it's called? Behavior. Behavior is something very learned from evolutionary perspective, well, it is a brilliant put. I can't really dispute that fact, because some of it is obviously quite true. But a child have to learn the activity starting on day one. The child have to start learning. I don't talk about animals, yet they even believe, weirdly, that we are from animals. They said a lot of stupid things, but the animals may be a smart example of silence and stillness, because some animals go into a stillness mode, like the what you can some turtle. The turtle goes into a very confined space, and you wonder how could a turtle overcome its own confined place. It tried to reach out to the world by walking the way it does. A turtle is a good example of something that gets scared and it goes into confinement. Also, other animals like snakes or like an egg is a good example, like seeds, of course, an egg in the womb of a lady that have been fertilized. It lays a certain egg that is going to be fertilized, and it sprouts when it's in the beginning stages, like the chicken. It have this internal it have this internal growth, and it comes out with like an egg, and after heating it and taking care of it, it cracks open like the bladder of the womb of the lady, that when the child is born, the bladder is broken, so the water gets out. And that kind of a stillness, the time of infancy, the time of before the crack of the bladder or the egg. You see, before that, the child is crying out some kind of a expression that was enough. That kind of a confinement was so much into me that now I want to cry out, I am free, I am free. And also the chicken in the egg want to hack itself out of this confinement, and tortoise and everything is captured in this stillness and silence. Of course they hear something, but for them they have to be silent. And life that is not tampered with, life that is not tampered with, will hack itself out in some way or form. My friends, maybe you are in a confined stillness and silence. You are afraid to get out of your space. Maybe this comfort zone that I was talking about is getting to you. This is just a different way of putting this comfort zone, because comfort zones is only temporarily. It's just some short time that you can be in this confined space, and you see the inspiration after me being in a sleep. I want to get out of bed. I want to get out and do certain things, and I want to be active. As long as I am fit for fight, I want to do something. It is a kind of a mental sickness that you go down into some kind of a confined, silent mode. I think it is a sickness. At the same time, it can be the most healthy activity you do. And me, I get a bad conscience when I'm in that mode, and I am afraid that I get too much into it. I'm afraid not to get active. It's a mind game of mine. I don't want to be bragged at or brag that I'm that active. I achieve so much. I don't. But you do what you do, and I think that kind of a stillness make you do something you really want. And when you do it in a way that gives great sense and rationality, and it gives importance to this kind of a life that I can't say what I say is just from me. I can't brag about such a thing. I think the only thing that I'm admitting is that the silence and the stillness is making me aware of the spirit that is all around, that are inspiring me to do something that may be more important than before. It gives life more meaning than ever before. So as long as you grow, you advance in your own attachment to that kind of a spirit that makes you both obedient to it, and you can use it in a service to other people. Make music, make speeches, make people think, make yourself walk on the road. You see, He is the truth. He is the way, truth, and the truth. And the road. And the life. You see, life is all this kind of a stillness mode, internalized stillness, silence. And it is for you and me to get in contact with those elements that drives our life. I pray for peace for Jerusalem and Israel. Blessed and shalom to every one of you.